I was wandering down the streets of Silver Moon City one fine evening when I came by a dead body, and not just any dead body, but Lord Thimar's. I ran over to him and searched his body, when I discovered the arrow sticking out of his back, piercing through his heart. His garments were drenched in blood, along with the path he was lying on. The arrow was as ordinary as any other arrow in Azeroth. The only other thing making it unique was the two glowing red eyes on the feather of the arrow. It could be anyone's or anything's. I tucked the arrow in my jacket pocket and walked to the inn I would be staying at for the night. I spoke to the innkeeper and fell straight into bed once I reached it. I tried to go to sleep, but with no luck. Finally, after hours of lying with my eyes open, sleep washed over me like a blanket. I awoke to the screeching sound of a woman's scream. I jumped out of bed and threw myself down the stairs and ran outside. The scene in front of me was horrific. It was the body of Vol'jin, 3 arrows poking out of his torso. Someone was saying to another that Vol'jin had come all the way to Silvermoon to have a meal with Lor'themar and to discuss with him of the rebuilding of the Horde, as Garrosh Hellscream's death have left them lost with no leader. I examined the arrows and find that they are the exact same as the one found in Lor'themar, the same 2 glowing eyes staring at me. Why would someone want to kill both Lor'themar, Theron, Lord of the Blood Elves, and Vol'jin of the Trolls? What was similar of the two, I asked myself. Then it came to me, and I understood. I purchased a horse from the nearest stable boy, the only form of transport available to me at the time, which was unfortunate. It isn't that I'm scared of them, but more that I dislike having a creature between my legs. I rode for hours without stop, through the blissful green of Eversong Woods, into the Dead Scar, the haunted Ghostlands, and the Tristful Glades. Who am I? I am Sherlock Holmes. I rode until I could not ride any longer. I may dislike riding horses, but I am not cruel enough to ride them until it dies. I was almost at my desired destination, I discovered, when I spotted my location on the local map, telling me that I was in Brill. I covered the final distance by foot until I reached the Undercity. It was then that I saw her, Lady Sylvanas. Behind her back was the quiver of arrows, the same one which had been found in the bodies. She was trapped and could not escape, the local guards surrounding her on all sides.
How is it you found out that it was I who murdered the 2 of them?
She didn't deny it was her. She knew there was no point. She was talking to Sherlock Holmes after all. As the guards prepared to seize her, I replied to her. It was hard at first. All I had to go on was the red eyes found on the feather of the arrows. They could have been anyone's. But then I remembered the poster I found in the inn which I was staying at. It was the poster of who would be elected for the next war chief of the Horde, Garrosh having just fallen. There were 6 names, one being yours. The others were Vol'jin, Lothimar, Bane, Gullywix, and Jaina. That removed 2 people from the list, for they were dead. The remaining people were Bane, Gullywix, Jaina, and yourself. Next to each name was a portrait of each of them, including you. It was then that I noticed you had glowing red eyes, the same which were found on the arrows. I also discovered that out of everyone, only you used the bow and arrow as weapon. Bane Bloodhoof uses the mace, removing him from my suspects, as he was the best friend of Vol'jin, so why would he murder him? Then there was Jaina Proudmoore, and she wouldn't consider using the bow as a weapon of choice, as she is a mage, caster of magic. There was also Gullywix of the Goblins. He barely leaves the Lost Isles, and would hardly go to the extent of hunting down each leader and murder them. Finally, that leaves you, the only one who wields the bow, the only one with glowing red eyes, the only one who would care enough about being the next war chief to go to the extent of murdering others to get the position. My theory was confirmed when I found you here, as you had the same arrows in your quiver behind your back as the ones found in the bodies. Am I correct, Lady Sylvanas?
You are indeed, Holmes.
I would say it was good meeting you, Sylvanas, but if I be honest, I rather hope never to encounter you again, for both my sake and your own. I have been through many adventures, met many mysteries, some hard, some not so hard, but not one I haven't solved, and I don't plan to change that anytime soon. Do not forget the day you met Sherlock Holmes. And with that, he turned and walked away without looking back.